Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod, here to talk about Survivor Season 50, Episode 7, titled That's Not How I Play Survivor. Last week on Survivor, tribes merged into one Manulevu tribe, but the menacing Blood Moon split the tribe in three, and Camilla, Genevieve, and Colby's dreams were all crushed. Before I dive in, I put links below to my playlist to catch up on my previous recaps, and to try Paramount Plus for free. If you like the video, consider liking and subscribing to get more same-day Survivor recaps. But let's dive into it. We pick back up where we left off. Back at Manulevu, Tiffany is upset about losing Camilla and asks to be left alone. She's pissed and keeps composed because she doesn't want to become a target. In confessional, she tells us Jonathan is a lying skank, which should be the episode title. Tiffany is ready to get revenge. The next group gets back, minus Genevieve. Aubrey is feeling mischievous after not playing her idol. She tells Devins she was planning to play it, but she forgot, which insults Devins and makes him regret not voting her out and pilfering that idol. Christian doesn't believe her either, and he spreads around camp that Aubrey lied and still has that idol. She claims in confessional she's gonna step up her game. When Aubrey steps up her game, I'm starting my diet. The third group comes back without Colby, Coach minus one of his four horsemen. Jonathan tells Coach they drew a line in the sand, and Jonathan is on Coach's side against the liars like Aubrey and Dee. Coach is ready for the war on dishonor. The next morning, Tiffany fills Dee in on how Jonathan lied and turned on Camilla. Dee goes to talk to Jonathan, but as she's doing that, Coach calls Dee out for telling everyone that she doesn't trust him, and Jonathan chimes in, making it a 2-on-1 against Dee, calling her dishonest. Jonathan is still mad about the Charlie blindside. Dee is mad about the Camilla blindside. They are fighting. Dee tells us she always knew Jonathan didn't have a brain. Joe is there too, because the thing that this 2-on-1 on the 5'2" girl needs is another man standing there for backup on the two men. Coach tells Dee it's not how he plays Survivor. Oop, Coach said the thing. Coach is so pissy at this point. So the war on dishonor is officially declared. Coach is threatening the group, saying he's not going to vote for a liar to win. Emily is very annoyed at Coach and calls his behavior stupid. Coach's next move is a public haiku, betrayals all around. Nobody tells the truth like Coach. War has been declared. He celebrates this haiku. You've got to have guts to do a haiku around me. I will be counting syllables on my fingers. And he went over quota. Coach is off his game. At this point, Ozzy and Rizzo get back from exile. There's a lot to unpack for them at this point. Learning about the triple tribal, the drama after. Coach pounces on Rizzo to recruit him as a soldier. He invites Rizzo to be a four horseman as Colby's replacement with Joe and Jonathan. Rizzo is not impressed that he's a replacement in the alliance. He runs this right back to his alliance, Cirie and Ozzy, and they finally name this alliance Cirie's Rizzard of Oz. There's a lot happening here. Apparently, Dee told Emily that Rizzo has an idol in the last round, and she told Emily to keep it a secret. Emily said she was zip tight, but now, of course, Emily is spilling the beans to Rizzo about Dee telling her that. Rizzo confronts Dee about this. She denies it, but she's also told Tiffany and Jonathan, so this is a mess for Dee. A boat shows up, asking for one player to go on a journey. They randomly choose Steph to go on the journey, so Steph pulls up to a solo challenge. She's told that she'll have to hold her arm up for an hour. If she can last the hour, she gets the advantage. If not, she loses her vote. This is a real test for her because she hurt her shoulder on Heroes vs. Villains and had reconstructive surgery, so she's using her other arm, and she gets started. I had no doubt she was going to be able to do this. And you know what? Watching her stand there doing nothing was such a delight after the chaos of the previous segments. Then Zach Brown comes out to sing a song. Just kidding, the fans would riot. But this becomes a nice trip down memory lane for Steph, reminiscing on her previous seasons and proving that she's still that Stephanie. And she does finish it. The advantage she wins is to steal a vote, so she can steal someone's vote at Tribal and cast it as her own second vote. When she gets back to camp, she lies to the group, telling them she only had to do 30 minutes to keep her vote, but she didn't make it to an hour to win an advantage. Cirie knows that Steph is lying, and Steph quickly folds, telling Cirie the truth about her advantage. Cirie runs this right back to Rizzo. They know where all the advantages are, and Rizzo fills Cirie in on Dee's betrayal, so now they're considering targeting Dee. Later, players head to their immunity challenge, where sorry Christian, Dee, and Steph, those things are up for grabs. Players will split into two groups of 7, maneuvering their big ball through obstacles, then climb up the ball and finish their Survivor logo puzzle. The first group to finish wins reward of some Chinese takeout back at camp, and what Jeff calls a Chinese takeout staple, brownies. Is Jeff being sarcastic? The winning group will then play another challenge where one player will win individual immunity. The groups are purple, Jonathan, Cirie, Chrissy, Rizzo, Tiffany, Coach, and Aubrey, and blue, Christian, Ozzy, Devins, Emily, Dee, Stephanie, and Joe. They get started. Whoa, mama. Those balls are really big. Blue gets to a lead, but Challenge Beast Tiffany gets gets a lucky key and is the MVP on Team Purple. I thought Jonathan was about to launch Team Purple into space up onto the platform, but Ozzy and Joe help Blue to get to the puzzle first. It comes down to Chrissy and Coach for Purple and Emily and Christian for Blue on the puzzle. It's close, but Christian and Emily pull it out, winning reward for Team Blue. They head right to part 2, where players will stand on a balance beam while also balancing a ball on a pole over their heads. The last player standing wins immunity. They get started. Devins quickly falls, followed by Emily, Christian, and Stephanie. It comes down to Dee, Joe, and Ozzy. Jeff tells them they have to get a toe on the end of their beam. I really thought Dee was about to wrap her super toe around that beam, but she drops, followed by Joe, giving Ozzy individual immunity, which feels correct. Ozzy tells us he just woke up the beast. Back at camp, the reward winners get their Chinese takeout while the losers watch. I guess the conversation over food wasn't interesting because we see none of it, and the food doesn't look very good either. For the losers, Chrissy tells Tiffany that Dee and Aubrey are the main targets. Tiffany is annoyed that the Four Horsemen are targeting her allies, but she's keeping quiet about it. Aubrey has decided that she's playing her idol tonight to take the target off of her, so the Four Horsemen and Chrissy decide to split the votes between Dee and her friend Tiffany. The winners rejoin them, and Coach continues to try to organize the split vote. Devins doesn't like that Coach is being bossy, and Devins tells Christian that Coach is calling Christian wishy-washy. Coach becomes irate that wishy-washy Christian found out about the split vote plan, so Coach is pissed like Debbie Weiner on the rocks, becoming more and more bossy as the day goes on. Rizzo soothes Coach, telling him to calm down and stop telling Devins things because Devins is teamed up with Christian. Coach does another haiku. Cowardly people make easy decisions hard. What the flying F? He did nail the haiku that time. Through their annoyance, Devins and Emily consider voting out Coach. Ozzy is like, whatever, I'm down. Tiffany is down. Dee is down. Dee sees this tribal as her chance to cause chaos and save herself. But first, a Coach coup, tribal council looms. All of us are unsettled. Tonight, lines are drawn. So they head to a record-setting 14-person tribal council, where Emily tells Jeff that after the blood moon, there were loud fights and quiet fights. Coach is being Coach, as Dee and Tiffany roll their eyes at he and Jonathan. Dee points out that there are big groups forming, and there are people in the middle like her that should be scooped up and not discarded. This turns into a spat between Jonathan and Dee, where Jonathan again calls Dee a liar. Dee gets up and starts whispering, telling people to vote for Coach, which gets a live tribal going, whispers everywhere, and they get to voting. Tiffany votes for Coach, saying he's a self-righteous hypocrite, and she hopes she can vote for him every day until he goes home. For advantages, Aubrey does play her idol on herself, officially rendering the Billie Eilish twist a complete flop, and Dee plays her shot in the dark, but Dee's shot in the dark doesn't hit. She's not safe and has no vote. In the end, there's one vote in that thing for Coach from Tiffany, 4 for Tiffany from Coach, Joe, Ozzy, and Steph, and for Dee from everyone else, exactly according to Coach's plan. So we lose Dee here, the last winner in the game, who was playing strong. She had allies, was doing well in challenges, survived 2 votes, made jury. It all falls apart this episode when she fell victim to Emily's loose lips. The show made it seem like that was the reason she was voted out, though it feels more like the justification, because she's such a threat. If they let her slide by, she could win her way to the end. They simply made the logical move in voting out the biggest threat when she wasn't safe with no advantages. I'm bummed that she's gone. She's not on the next season of the challenge, so I'm really hoping we get to see her on Traitors Season 5. So that ends this episode. We're set up with a few alliances driving this story right now. You have Cerise, Wizard of Oz, who are working with Emily, Christian, and Devins. The true middle people, I'd say, are Aubrey and Steph, with Steph seeming to have tighter bonds with both groups. Tiffany is by herself and has vowed to vote for Coach every time she can, so she's on her revenge tour. Honestly, I'm loving it. And there's the Four Horsemen alliance of Coach, Jonathan, and Joe. This alliance irks me, especially because Chrissy is in their alliance, and they brought in Rizzo instead of Chrissy into the Four Horsemen because Chrissy's a woman, she can't be in the alliance, so she's just being disregarded, even though, like I said, anytime Coach is strategizing, Chrissy is right there because, again, she is in the alliance, but at least when Rizzo rats this alliance out, it didn't include Chrissy, which is good for her. The logical next move for most people in the game is to dismantle this Coach group, but leave Coach in the game because he's the farthest thing from a jury threat that there is right now. This time next week, I'll be shocked if the group didn't vote out Joe or Jonathan. But that's all I have to say about this episode. If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing. Before I go, announcing the winners of the Easter egg hunt last week. Congratulations! You can add this to your professional resume. Percival, Jenny, Snerdico, TD Ryan, Dupunka, Candace, Mkitafaral, Why Does This Even Matter, Color War Official, and Aja De Cadro. Reach out to me to claim your prizes. Until next week, you know where to find me. Bye!